Grimcast Manila is a podcast of creepy stories from around the metro. I'm your scaredy cat host, Antoinette, and I love a good ghost story. In the second episode of our fourth season, we're talking to Joni. Joni is a performing artist, ballerina, and environmental educator. We've known each other since prep, so it's been a very, very long time. Welcome to the show, Joni.
Hi.
Hi. So it's kind of really funny because I actually initially invited your partner, Rafi. And then when I was trying to ask for you, you said, oh, he got it for me.
Yeah. Through transference.
That's a thing? That happens?
Yeah. Okay, so my ghost stuff, it's not really, like, how do you explain it? It's not really just me seeing things. I also know how to make hilot, and I can kind of feel where, so if someone has pain in their body, if I touch them, I know exactly where it is. So I massage really well. And I was trying that out on him, on his friends, because parang wala, we were new, we just got together. And we were siguro a month in, or we weren't even together yet then. And he was going, okay, so how does this transferring thing work? And I go, no, it's called transference. It's not transferring, it's transference. He goes, okay, what's that? And I go, give me your arm. And I hold it. And I go, so I can feel exactly, if I calm myself down, everything's quiet, I can feel where the pain is on my body. And I'll ask him, is your right shoulder a little sore? Is it tight? And he goes, yeah, it is. How can you tell? And I go, oh, I feel it on myself as well. That happens to me. It happens to my dad. It happens to my sisters. It happens to my Lola. So we think it's passed on from my dad's side. Apparently, everyone from my dad's side, they're mostly healers. Yeah. So it's a thing. Yeah. My yaya is also the same. So the hilot now and the healing, it's passed on. And even the seeing is passed on as well. So when I did that with okay, I'm going to call my dog. Hold on. Asha, come here.
Go ahead.
Because I'm scared.
So for our listeners, Joni is, it's 11 o'clock at night. It's pretty late. Yeah. Talking about this stuff. So Joni has her wonderful dog with her. So if you hear any panting in this recording, it is not anything otherworldly. It's literally a dog.
It's my dog. It's my dog protecting me. Okay, so anyway, so the whole seeing thing. So I did that with Rafi, and I was like, okay, I can feel where your pain is, and I'm not sure if I can transfer pain to you as well, because I can do that with my dad. I can do that with my sisters. And with that, I feel it leaving my body. So I held his arm, and I tried passing it on to him. And he goes, oh, it's not working. I don't feel anything. So we kind of just let it go. And literally like 3 minutes later, he goes, what the heck was that? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, did you see that? And I'm like, see what? And he saw this translucent figure though, just cross the street. And I go, I transferred something else, apparently. And after that, voila, he's been seeing stuff now. And that was 6 years ago. And since then, it's not just usually with me because I see dead. Like if it was alive before, if it died, I see it. With him, he sees elementals as well.
Oh, okay.
So he sees, like, for example, when we go on trips, he'll feel like figures in the trees. And I go, do you see them? And he goes, no, I just know they're there. They're big. They're ominous. They're looming over you. And I don't feel any of that. And you
guys go out into nature a lot. Like a lot.
And he goes, they're not on all trees.
This went down.
Oh, yeah.
What?
And he goes, they're not on all trees.
On what?
They're not on all trees.
Oh.
Just a few. So apparently he thinks that they're elementals that live in them. But I don't feel them at all. So that's the whole transference thing. And now he has it worse than I do.
Before all this whole lockdown thing went down, you guys were out a lot, like bodies of water, hiking, climbing. Oh, yeah. You know.
But with me naman, when I see elementals, so that's what my dad calls them, because I don't really feel them. And then Rafi started getting freaked out because he was like, I've never seen this stuff before. Like, this is all new to me. What's happening? What did you do? And my dad goes, oh, yeah, those are elementals. So one is they're ghosts, like all the dead people. And then you have your elementals, which are, tree spirits, forest spirits, I don't know, like demons and stuff.
Really?
Or like duendes.
Okay.
So there are a lot of stuff that we don't really, that not everyone's tuned into. I think like the way I see it as it's a different frequency.
Interesting.
Like they're there, but not everyone can hear them. Not everyone can see them. And they all have different frequencies. So I don't know. Parang to me, that's the best I can explain it to people who don't know what it is.
Right. So I guess that pretty much answers the question of, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, obviously. Did not always used to.
Really? What? How?
Like when you're growing up and you're scared of the dark, which is super common. Plus, I was an only child for 7 years. My parents were always out of the house. My grandparents were always out. So I was really scared of the dark. And my parents would always go, oh, there's nothing there. Even my yaya. Oh, there's nothing there. It's your imagination. So I was always freaked out, but I never really thought that it was real up until when I was around 15. And this was in Saints in school. I remember reciting.
That's like third year.
Yeah, that was third year high school. It was the classroom at the end of the hallway on the third, fourth floor.
Oh my gosh.
Basta 30, 301, 30 whatever. Basta at the end. Oh my god. CBGBs. So I was reciting during CLE class, Christian Living Education. And I just see this figure run across like outside the room in the hallway. And it just disappeared. And it was translucent and kind of white. And it was a girl. And it just went, phew. And it disappeared onto the wall. And I couldn't recite na. And the teacher's like, do you know the answer? And I'm like, how to speak after that?
Were we in the same class? No.
I don't think so. I think this was third year, fourth year high school. Probably or second year. I remember the teacher's name was Mr. Hapon.
Oh, Mr. Hapon.
Okay. So that teacher. And so he was convinced that I did not know the answer to his question, but I did, except I couldn't speak because I felt like crying because I was so freaked out.
Right. No, okay. Because I remember, because if that was the classroom on the top floor at the very corner, I've actually told that story on this podcast before, that's the classroom that got barred off.
Oh,
right?
I have goosebumps. Yes, I remember that. Okay, so were you in that class? No, that was a lower class. We were in fourth year.
We were in fourth year. I was in, so you know how the hallway, there's the bathroom that like splits the hallway and then there's the other side. I was on the other side and we were like taking our finals early because, you know, seniors have to do that for graduation practice or whatever. So we were taking our finals early and then our teacher, our proctor at the time, she was just watching a sticker test. And then we hear a bunch of screaming and she's like, and her first reaction was like, what are these kids doing? Don't they have a teacher? They're just like dicking around. She goes out to check on them and we actually don't know what happens. And she just comes back and she was like, all right, just do your thing. And eventually we find out that something went down in that room and all the kids experienced it.
You know, it's weird. I didn't even remember that we were taking finals. I knew we were taking a test and I didn't know it was a fourth year test. I thought it was just our class. Yeah. Because I really don't remember.
Like the whole year.
Okay, so I don't remember this. See, I don't even remember if I knew what was finals. I was so out of it in high school. I don't even know how I graduated. But anyway, I remember taking an exam on the same floor and the teacher leaves the room and she goes, no cheating. I hear stuff outside. So I'm just going to go check. Stay in your seats. If I see anyone cheating, that I'll automatically fail you. And then she comes back in and she makes everyone pass their papers forward and then she asks us to go down.
You had to go downstairs?
Yeah, we had to go downstairs. Our class went downstairs. And I couldn't remember why. She didn't really say anything. And then later during the day, around lunchtime, I think, or dismissal, I find out that class now, do you know what happened in that classroom? Do you know exactly what happened? So, okay, they got locked in and there were voices and everyone could hear it. And there were there was something crying and everyone heard it and they couldn't leave the classroom.
So the story I heard was they were all in the classroom. They were, I think, taking their test also, whatever it was. And someone started sobbing very quietly, in the back. And then it started getting louder and louder and louder. And eventually everybody got freaked out and ran to the platform in front. And then, they were like, it's kind of like, it's I don't know if they were locked in or it's like everybody was so afraid. And then the teacher passed out. So they were trying to assist her or like tend to her. And it's like everybody forgot that there was a door and they could run out. And then it was just like crying like so loud and around them. And then eventually a teacher, I don't know if it was my teacher or our proctor at the time, it's like she looked in and everybody was on the platform freaking out. So she knocks and like she opens the door, like what's going on? And it's like everybody looked at the door, and that's when the only time they realized that there's a door, we can run out, and they like ran the fuck out of there. And that's the story I heard.
With me, the story I heard was they couldn't leave. They were trying to get out and they couldn't leave. The freaky thing is, you know how in Saints School we used to have peace camps? At the end of the year, we'd always have like this huge sleepover. I was never allowed to sleep over. So when I was in third grade, my mom's sister used to teach in Saints School. She used to teach, I think, health class or something. And every year there would always be someone who would, like, they'd always have to do an exorcism in Saints School in high school.
Jesus.
During that year. That was like around 99-ish.
Oh, wow.
So there was always someone nasasapian. And there was one in her class. So after that, my mom never allowed me to sleep in Saints School. Which is why
there was one in your class in third grade?
In her class. No, I was in third grade. She was teaching high school.
In her class?
Yeah, in her class.
Oh.
Or like...
There's another story I heard about that, which is why Peace Camp was canceled in our second and third years.
Mm-hmm. So my mom just never allowed me to sleep at school. And it happened all the time. Okay, so my Lola. My Lola back in the... Have you ever heard of the La Salle Massacre?
Yeah.
1945? Okay, there. So my Lola was part of that massacre. Yes, my Lola was part of that massacre. She has a bayonet wound, like here. She has 2 in her chest.
Wow.
Yes. And she was passed out for 3 days because of blood loss or whatever. She wakes up and she's in Saints School. Because they turned it into a hospital. So it's true that it was a hospital. And then the new building, they don't call it the new building anymore. We were probably in second, third grade when they were building that. Do you remember how we weren't allowed in that new building?
As kids?
Ish, yeah. Do you not remember that? There was
high school.
There. That high school building. We weren't allowed there. That building where they excavated the foundation for that new building, that was a mass burial grave.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Seriously?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because my Lola nga, she was saying they were all brought to Saints School because it was a hospital, and then they just couldn't identify some of the bodies anymore, so they just buried them there. So when they were building the foundation for that building, they found out that it was a mass burial site, and they just tried to remove all the bones. Tried
oh my Lord.
As much as they could, which is why we weren't allowed there. Yeah. And then the chem lab.
The chem lab was special.
Okay, so the bathroom there, so I was asking my tita, or she's actually my ninang, who used to teach in Saints
School. The chem lab's in the back, right?
Yeah.
By the college building.
Yeah, but so there's one bathroom that's super creepy.
Do you mean the physics room?
Or probably the physics room. Basta magkaka-UTI na ako, hindi mo talaga ako mapapawiwi doon. So,
those were the ones where the mirrors ripped out.
Yes. And the mirrors were not there because we were girls and we were maarte and they didn't want us looking in the mirror and skipping class. No, there were no mirrors because something would show itself there. So they decided to remove it. Well, that does not solve anything. Nothing's still there.
But I'm glad. Like I remember we had to do physics in that room, and every time I needed to go to the bathroom, I would just I'd grab one of our classmates. I'd be like, can you come pee with me? Just stand outside. It'll be cool. And I remember I'd never lock the door just in case I needed to run out super fast.
I learned how to Kegel because of that. I'd hold my PN for 2 hours for double class because we had double classes, diba? For science.
Yeah.
2 hours of science class. Sometimes after lunch, no peeing.
No peeing.
Hold it in. Yeah, no peeing talaga. Hold it in. That was creepy. But yeah, Saints School I had a lot. I think that's where it first opened.
Do you remember your first one? Do you remember your first one there?
The first one was in Mr. Hapwan's class when I was 14, 15. And then after that, wala na. It was open forever. After that, next few ones were at CCP because I danced ballet, diba? So most of my experiences were either at Saints School. The next most stuff I would see at, that's not grammatically incorrect, but stuff I'd see. The next place I'd see the most stuff at would probably be CCP and Meralco.
It's so old. Because it's theaters.
Yep.
And it's like theaters are empty for such a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Or if there's rehearsal, it's just you guys and like the
Mhm.
whole hall is empty. And
Yeah.
CCP pa has several theaters,
Yeah.
right?
So CCP has
yeah.
CCP, like everyone, and the people know the ghosts there already because they're the same. Yeah. So at backstage, there's one that makes it sit when you run backstage, and this is the main theater. Someone always goes from on top where there's nothing.
The lights.
Yeah, lights and shit.
It's just like the lights and like a gangway, right?
Mm-hmm. There's another one by the bathroom that changes costumes as well.
What? What
and
do
this
you
is
mean?
like
How?
the side. Like my experience, this happened twice up. I go to the bathroom and then I see someone in like I was doing the nutcracker, and one of the soldiers in red walked into the other cubicle.
Mhm.
And then I came out and I was gonna wash my hands. I was changing into my snow scene costume. I washed my hands and I noticed that the cubicle was open.
Mhm.
And there was no one there. And I was like, oh, I just walked in front of mine. Because you see through the what do you call this?
Yeah,
the slits,
right?
Yeah. You see through that. So I knew that someone walked in. Sometimes someone flushes. So that's
Well,
weird.
at least they're quite conscientious with their flushing.
So sometimes someone flushes, sometimes in the dressing rooms, the dryers were like the hand dryers, they just turn on and off, the lights turn on and off. So parang everyone knows that's just there.
So
Same with
everybody's
Meralco.
just so used to it.
Meralco then, there's a room there that's actually perpetually locked.
What do you mean?
Somewhere on the second floor, third floor, they just don't open it. It's forever locked now. Just because there have been so many cases of people
What do you
seeing
mean by
stuff there.
cases?
Like just people seeing stuff, like a poltergeist. So they decide, no, you know what? To solve this, let's just close the room. That's like Saints Row. It's like a Band-Aid solution. Just remove the mirrors.
Sweep it under
Just
the
lock
rug.
the door. Yeah. So there.
I mean,
Meralco
do you
naman.
have a particularly intense experience in like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it like this. What is your most intense experience in CCP, Saints Ko, and Meralco?
Saints Ko Nada and Saints Ko first. Oh, wait, Saints Ko was that, running thing. That was one.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first one. So that really freaked me out. Not the most intense, but because it was the first one, I was pretty scared. CCP, like there's so many. Like I think just the volume of it is creepy.
Right.
Like you see stuff, you hear stuff, stuff fall out to you. You see figures
like
walk past
Joni?
you. No, they're like, and you're like, what the freak? What was that? It was so close to my ear. And there's no one there. And you hear it right by your ear. Yeah. Like you're backstage, everything's dark. You're by the curtains, and then you hear in your ear.
Jeez.
Or the dryer is turning on and off. Like just really weird stuff. So I think the volume naman for that is creepy. Like not one particular one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, except for the seeing. Yeah. There was one. I was in the dressing room alone. I came out of the bathroom and then walked out. And it was a girl. And it was so clear. And I was so freaked out. And I ran down the stairs from the third floor to the ground floor. And I remember skipping steps. Like I remember jumping from the top until the landing, and then from the landing to the second level, and then so I didn't get injured. Meralco naman, so I don't know why they do this. So Meralco, in our studio, there's a portion of the window where we keep all of our costumes, and there's always like a face that's looking out of that little window, parang watching the dancers in the studio.
Okay.
So they just decided to put a curtain.
Wait. It's like a door with a little window, or there's like a window?
There's a window. So parang, and inside the studio, there's another room where we keep all the costumes. And in that room, there's a little window it's a glass window. And there's always a figure, and there's always a face peeking out. And all the dancers have seen this. So they just decided lang to cover the window. Cover the glass.
So many Band-Aid solutions everywhere.
Everywhere.
Just cover it.
Yep. That's nearly. So yeah. It helps that you don't see them. So
and then you forget you're with like a lot of people.
Or parang you forget that it's there when you don't see it.
It's like I have a job to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there. My house, we also have a lot. And I'm not sure if it's because we talk about it. Yeah. Have you been to my house?
I haven't, actually.
So at the end of my damn it talaga. Like I cannot run out of ghost stories just because there's so many. At the end of my street, we have a balete tree. And in that baleta tree, there's a witch. We call it a witch. We don't know what it is. I don't feel it. Yeah. I don't feel it at all. And this is, the story has gone on since I remember being in high school, running around Magallanes, and like our group not wanting to go to the end of the street.
Okay.
Of my street. So it was always whenever, even with cars would always make vuelta somewhere in the middle, never at the end. And then I just thought it was like a random ghost story up until Rafi, it made Momo Rafi. Like last year, I think, 2 years ago.
What happened?
So I lost my cat. My cat's name was Lucy. Yeah, she was named Lucy, and she had a blue eye and a green eye. And she just disappeared one day. And she was missing for mga 2-3 weeks. And I know, mga 2-3 days. And I decided that evening that, I just had to look for her. So I go outside and I go, Raf, let's just walk around and try to, what if she shows up or something? So I'm outside yelling, Lucy, Lucy. And he goes, Joni, stop doing that. Stop calling out. I go, why? I'm just looking for my cat. So I continue yelling, Lucy. He says, no, there's something coming. And he couldn't explain it because I didn't feel it. But the way he explained it was, you know how when you're prey and there's like predator coming and you don't know, you don't see it, but you feel it. And everything, like your hair stands up and you just get the heebie-jeebies. That happened to him. Yeah. And I had no idea. I was oblivious to anything that was going on. So I'm just like, Lucy, come here. Where are you, kitty? And I just decided, you know what? This cat's not coming home. Whatever. I'll try to look for it in the morning. So I go home. We go home. That evening, he tries to wake me up multiple times in the middle of the night, going, Joni, there's something. Joni, there's something. I keep having bad dreams. There's really something at the room. I go, there's nothing. He goes, Joni, there's really something. Just go back to sleep. I'm so sleepy. Stop bugging me. After like the 30th time trying to wake me up. So I'm like really pissed off at this point because I just want to sleep. Yeah. Please, there's really something. And I go, Rafi, there's not. And then I hear footsteps.
Well then.
And I go, okay, let's go to the other room. And so we go to my dad's room. And so I sleep on the bed with my dad. And then Rafi sleeps between me and my dad on his bed.
Seriously?
And that is the same night that Rafi wears, Rafi's Christian. He's not even Catholic. That's the same night that Rafi receives his first St. Benedict medal from my dad. And he puts a rosary around his wrist and he tries to go to sleep. And he hasn't removed that
poor guy.
St. Benedict medal since. So yeah, that's creepy as hell. And it happens every so often. Like he knows now when it's that thing.
Like it feels distinct for him.
Yeah. And the thing is, when people visit my house, like even if they're in a car, they go, why? Like they'll message me. Why the fuck did you tell me that there was something at the end of the street? And I go, what do you mean? Sumabay siya. And this has happened around 10 times. Like they're driving, they make vuelta at the end of the street. And then on the way back, they notice there's something behind them, like in the backseat.
And how do they get rid of it?
It just disappears after a while. And when I guess she's like attached to that tree or something. So after a while, wala na. But
Like
there's
when
always
it gets
that
too far.
thing there. Yeah, probably. But that's creepy, man.
Are there houses there?
There's that house right by the baleta tree. It's always vacant. Parang there are tenants every now and then. Someone always moves in and they move back out right away.
They're just like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, there's really something there. It's weird. And the lights always turn off. Like I reported it because my dad works for the barangay. So I thought, you know what? It might be like a weird bulb thing. It might be bandido or it might be like the wiring. It's not. There's really something. So I don't know.
What do you mean the lights? Like the street lights?
Yeah. It goes dark.
And
only when you're walking. Yeah. And here's the thing. So it's on, right? And then you walk and then it turns off. Right while you're under it. It's so creepy.
That's great.
So yeah. So we don't go there. We only pass that area when there's light. AKA when it's
like
daytime.
Sun.
Yeah, like, sun. So yeah.
All right. I mean, in all the years, I mean, it's. I guess if it all started when you were 15, and we're like 30ish now, so it's been like half your life.
Oh yeah. No, but like I don't even have it that bad. I mean, it's only half my life. My sister said it since forever.
Okay. Like
sometimes she can't even. Yeah, like sometimes she can't even tell the difference anymore.
Really?
So, parang it's very normal to her. So yeah,
like, how does she eventually tell the difference?
Sometimes they look different. Sometimes they're translucent, or sometimes they're dressed in weird attire. So
they're not supposed to, like, they're not in this time period or something.
Yeah. Or sometimes they look really creepy.
Really?
So that's when it freaks her out. But other than that, parang wala lang. It's normal. As long as it's not oppressive, she's okay.
Has she or have you or her experienced something oppressive?
She has. With me, except for that witch, nothing naman in particular. Like mostly just dead people, I think. We got like lost souls. With my sister, she was at a retreat house and she called my dad and she asked my dad to pick her up.
Really?
Like it was that bad. Yeah, she's like, I don't care if I fail this school year. Like if they don't pass me for not attending retreat, I can't stay here. Yeah. And it was really because, and it wasn't only her who could see it. As soon as they entered the retreat house, she saw feet dangling and it was like someone had hung themselves. And that's not the worst part. It gets creepier. So this thing's hanging, right? And it turns and it looks at her and smiles.
What the hell? It's nangiinis.
Yeah. So I'm getting goosebumps. Asha, where are you? My doggy. Okay, she's there. Oh. So yeah. So she called my dad. She goes, Papa, please pick me up. I can't sleep here.
Is this our retreat house? Like from our school?
We didn't go to the same retreat house. We went to a different one.
Oh, okay.
So that's good to know.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
So, but it was also I think hers was also somewhere in Cavite. Like the Silang area.
Ours is in Tagaytay.
Yeah. So that's weird. But usually because hers is so much stronger than mine, sometimes because I'm such a scaredy cat, I think there's something there, but sometimes it's all in my head. So I ask for confirmation from her. So if I'm freaked out, I ask her, like, means there's something? And she goes, yeah, there's something. It's over there. Oh, I did see it. That's correct. So, ayun, parang she's really just the confirmation person.
And you said that this is from your dad's lineage, no?
Oh, yeah. Like, my dad pala. So,
yeah.
Yeah. That's so weird. I asked my dad about it because for a while it was really bugging me. And because it was sunod-sunod, I'd see every night and I couldn't sleep. And I'm so duwag pa naman. Like, because my sister, she grew up with it. So she's so accustomed to it and she's not scared. But with me, because it's fairly new and I've always been scared of the dark. To me, it's freaky as hell. And I told my dad about it. And my dad goes, oh yeah, that's because everyone on our side has it. Yeah. So one of my lolas, because my sister can also feel elementals like Rafi. I can't. Mine's really just souls. One of my lolas, she has in her house, she passed away now, but in her house by the door, she'll always have like a hard-boiled egg. And we don't know if it was for the dog or for, I don't know. Apparently it's for the duendes.
Oh, it's like a snack?
Yep. It's a snack for her duendes. and I'm like,
it disappears?
What? It disappears. We don't know where it goes. Maybe the cat eats it, but I don't know. We've never seen the cat.
Yeah, that house. They have hard-boiled eggs. Come on, kitty friends.
So there. But the weird thing is that Lola of mine, so we call her Mamang. So Mamang has these eggs for her duende friends. When we were kids, before I even met Mamang, because I met her when I was a little older now. Before I met Mamang, we had these over Christmas or New Year when we'd have family gatherings, we talk about family and lineage and stuff. One of our lolos was a datu from Zamboanga. And I think he was shooting a wild boar or something. And this wild boar just didn't die. Parang the bullet ricocheted off of it. So he goes, oh wow, magical water, because it was drinking from a stream or something. And so he gets this like water container, and he gets water from this river where the boar was drinking. And that's how they caught the duendes or something. So that's the story.
Wait, that's how they caught the duendes?
Yeah. It's so weird. It's so weird. I can't wrap my head around it. And I thought it was like, funny story for telling kids this. And then I hear about Mamang and her duendes. So I'm like, what? Is this real? What is this? And then so Mamang passed away and we don't know where the duendes are. And everyone says it's with my ninang. I don't know, man. It's cuckoo.
So wait. So grandfather Datu caught it and kept it in the family?
Yeah, so parang he made a deal though with the duendes. Now, I'll keep you safe, I'll feed you, I'll house you, but keep my family safe as well, or something like that. So yeah, I can't explain it.
I mean,
So
in exchange
there.
for board and lodging, that's a pretty sweet deal.
But isn't that weird? But okay, so this lolo of mine, he was a datu. There was a war in Zamboanga and everything. He never got shot. He never got hit. And he lived up until his 90s, and he would ride the motorcycle from Zamboanga to Manila.
What? Is that even possible?
Right? So I don't know. At the duendes, man, you can't explain that shit.
Isn't that like super dangerous?
Mamang naman, I think she passed away also in her late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But then people in my family die when they're like 101, 100. My lola's 103. So it really could just be good genes and not the duende.
It really
I
could
don't
just
know.
be good genes, but also I wouldn't be surprised if you lived into your hundreds. You're so like physically fit. Anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I just randomly saw duendes walking around my house. And then,
Like,
okay,
hey,
you
guess
live
where
until
you are?
100. And now you're going to live until 100. It's so weird. But yeah,
Okay.
so that's their side talaga. And the only thing I have is I can see souls and I can sort of heal people. So my sister can see souls, elementals. I think and we share dreams. So that goes with the transference. And the thing with transference is, which is why Rafi didn't want to be here tonight. When we talk about it, when I open one thing, so for example, with healing, if I make heal up people a lot more often, when I open myself to that, because it's like you're opening avenues.
Yeah.
When I open one thing, I open everything. So I can't control it. So there, I will let you know if I feel anything after this, because it usually happens when we talk about it.
Well, yeah. For me, if I ever did have one as a kid, I don't remember. I don't want it. It's going to stay closed. It's going to be like, my image of it is like, if there's an eye in the middle of my head, it's like boarded up and like nails in it and everything, with like garlands of like religious things on it.
Someone asked me, the priest actually asked me, because I went to a priest when I was in, I think, college, because I could not sleep talaga. And I would wake up from my dreams and they would be in the room. And my dogs would be staring at them, or my dogs would look around the room and bark, and I wouldn't be able to see it. And it would just be barking at the corners and following. And that's how you know that there's something there, when your dogs look and it scans and it barks at this invisible thing that's moving. That is freaky. And that's how you know it's real. And so I went to a priest and he asked me if I wanted to close. But closing it means that I close off everything else.
Including the healing.
And I wasn't sure if I was prepared for that. So
right
now I just pray and wear my Saint Benedict medal 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy. Like I when they gave that to us as kids, like we all get one, right? And you can buy more in like the school bookstore.
The bookstore.
The bookstore. We all get one. And at the time, I didn't know why. And eventually, as I understood what it was for and how it was supposed to protect you. Like, I still have a couple now. Like, there's one right by my door, just in case anything's out there. It's like right at the door. It'll be like, no entry.
Yeah.
I have one by my desk because I spend the most time here. And I have one in my wallet that goes everywhere with me.
The interesting thing about the St. Benedict medal is that, so I've always just worn it for like an anting. Like, you don't even know if it works or not, but you're comfortable knowing that it's there. Rafi's cousin, because apparently his cousin naman, which is why I think his opened so fast as well. His cousin sees everything. And he was saying that St. Benedict medals, when they're blessed, they actually have laman. That's what he calls them. And there is something that protects you. There's something in all St. Benedict medals. And sometimes they're really strong and sometimes they're not. So he asked me for my St. Benedict medal because he wanted to check it. And as soon as I removed it and he held it, he felt this shadow over him. And he goes, okay, you can have it back now. That's that thing protecting you. They're protectors. And there's actually a thing. And it's weird because I don't know what it is. Because it's not, like, you think that if you're blessed, it comes from up above or whatever. It's not. It's something. So I don't know what it is yet. His is really old. And he's not Catholic. He's Christian. His is super, super old. And it protects him. So parang it's the cousin of Raf. So Raf also parang he always has one then. Because his cousin Joshua told him that parang, just wear it. You might not believe in it, but as a Christian, but it helps. Because he sees it and he feels it. That's
whatever
so weird.
Works, man.
Exactly. So it's weird. Like there are things that we can't explain.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if someone tells me a chicken bone works, I will wear it around my neck.
Oh, yes. I'm so duwag. I am so scared. I'm really so freaked out. I'm so glad my dog's here.
I can't deal with the dark either. Like, I don't sleep without there's always one light on here.
I can't sleep by myself. Like, I am praying that in our old age, Rafi will not die before I do because I don't know what to do. Who the hell is going to sleep with a lola? I don't want to end up in a home for the aged either because those places are creepy. So I don't know.
Those are like filled.
Exactly.
Recent departures.
Exactly. So I don't know. And plus, even if I have like kids and grandkids, I don't think they're going to want to sleep with me. So I better die before Rafi does.
Well, Rafi has quite a way to go, given that you said you live into your hundreds.
Oh, I better die in my 70s. He better live until like 71 if I die at 17. Oh, I really can't. And that is my dilemma. I'm trying to figure out how to go about that and being alone because I don't want to be alone because it's creepy.
I hope you have a couple of decades left to figure that out.
Hope so.
You have some time. But I mean, okay. So. What is the weirdest experience you've had so far?
Here, besides that witch thing, and hearing the witch. Okay, so
you heard her?
Yeah. So I heard her. And then when we transferred to the other room so Rafi didn't have a St. Benedict medal yet. So it was my dad and then him in the middle and then me on the other, in the middle of the both of us because he was really just freaked out. So I gave him my St. Benedict medal. And then when he woke up for work and he had to leave really early, I think he left at like 5. So he left for work and he took my medal. And then when I was sleeping and then I remember my dad moving closer towards me. And then I knew it wasn't him because I felt something weird on the back of my neck. And I was turned the other way. And I just felt like this weird tingly sensation in the back of my neck and breathing. And it just didn't feel familiar. Like it was him, but it wasn't familiar. So I tried waking myself up. And then when I did wake up, my dad was turned the other way. So there's that. And then, so that was really creepy. Another one would be waking up. And this always happens, which is why I always have my medal and why I always sleep with the light on. I always wake up with something in the room. But if I have a bad dream, the figure in my dream is always in the room. This happens to my sisters as well. And I know that it's there because my dogs bark. And
you have a lot of dogs in your room.
And I have a lot of dogs. So sometimes I'll wake up. Like the most recent one I think was, which is also why I sleep with the curtains down, the blinds down now. So I had a bad dream. I woke up and then I was still really groggy and there was like a figure of a girl at the foot of my bed. And I thought I was still half asleep, half dreaming. So I kind of just did not I wasn't scared because I was hella sleepy. And then Asha started barking and this thing just flew out my window.
It flew.
Yep. And then it disappeared. And then I woke up and I was like, okay, that was real. And Asha was freaked out.
And Rafi was fast asleep.
But our dogs, especially these 3, like Asha, Mary, Pippin, our black dogs, they will bark randomly in the middle of the night looking at stuff. So it's comforting to know that they're protecting us-ish. But it's also really unsettling knowing that there's something there that you don't really see.
Like, I guess if I were in your place, I would just keep trying to convince myself that, maybe they saw a bird or something.
In the middle of the night at 3, I've stopped checking my phone. Every time I wake up, I just look around or I try to go back to sleep or whatever. I try to watch something, but I never look at the time because it's always at 3-ish, like 2:59, 3:01. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's not coincidence unless my sleep patterns are whack and I just wake up at 3 talaga.
Didn't you live in Hong Kong alone for a while?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it's because it's so busy.
Oh, it's so alive. Everybody's up at all hours anyway.
Yeah. And it's so magalo. Except for one. There's only one instance in my room. And it was my lola. And I didn't even know. Oh, yeah. I didn't even know who she was. I called my dad because I was in my room. And my room smelled like flowers. And ang dami, no? I never run out. I can go on for like 2 days just making kwento about ghosts. So I was in my room in Hong Kong, and then there was this, my room smelled like flowers, and then I couldn't really see her, but like when you smell and when you kind of close your eyes, you visualize this person. And she was this old Lola with a little bun, and she was Cuba, and she was sitting by the side of the bed. And I called my dad. I go, Papa, there's something in my room. And he automatically just goes, she have a bun? Is she old? Yeah, why? Oh, that's Lola Isabel. You're named after her. And he just knew.
Oh, well then.
And I didn't even give him any information. And he just fed me the info. I'd never even met Lola. She's my great-grandmother. She's the Lola of my dad. So when my dad described her, I was like, oh yeah, that's her. She's like, yeah, she's just protecting you. Okay, thanks for that.
And then it just like gradually went away?
Yeah. Eventually the smell went away. My dad goes, yeah, she's just visiting. And parang I think and then I think he dreamt of her the night before, so he kind of had a hunch that she'd be around.
Just like making her rounds, making sure the kids are all right.
My Lola din naman, so my Lola who used to live here, she passed away now also. The one who was bayoneted in LaSalle. So my other Lola who passed away, parang same thing. It's always flowers. If it's family, it's always flowers. And it's calming. It's not creepy.
Calming.
So one of my Lolas who passed away, who wasn't able to say goodbye to my Lola because my Lola was bedridden at that time. Our whole house smelled like flowers. And I asked my Lola, what was that? Because she was just smiling in her bed. And I go, what happened? What was that? Why are you smiling? It's so creepy. And she goes, oh, it was Lola Charing. She said goodbye. And then
that's kind of
she
sad.
was making sundo na also. Like, oh, come now when you're tired, okay? And then a few weeks later, my Lola also passed away.
That's that's kind of lovely.
Yun naman, that's comforting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But with my Lola, that Lola of mine, and the reason pala why I didn't get my third eye closed was because that Lola of mine, before she passed away, she told my dad that she was going to give me a gift. And she also told me, I have something for you. I have a gift for you before I die. And she also told my dad, but she told my dad first. And then my dad goes, what gift is this? And she goes, oh, it's the gift of vision. And he goes, I know you're going to give Joni a gift. Like, isn't that for her? And she goes, no, hers is different. Hers is prayer. And I'm not the most prayerful person ever, diba? So you know this.
Yeah.
But my dad's was vision. And my dad can always feel, but he's never seen. It wasn't a vision to see. It was a vision to sort of see into the future and see what's coming next. Sort of like clairvoyance. Okay. Mine was prayer. So with me, if I feel a soul and everyone in the room prays, nothing happens. When I pray, it goes away. So parang interceptor, which is what she did in her whole life. That was what she did now. She was a very prayerful woman. It freaked the nurses out because she would wake up at 3 a.m. and start mumbling. So feeling nila nasasapian si Lola. But yun pala, she was praying. And then when I was younger, she would always tell me, pray for the souls. They will help you. And she never set her alarm clock. And it was really, she would pray to them. Like, I will pray for you. I need to be up by this time. Please wake me up. Or I need this in return. And it was like a helping thing. My mom, when she was bedridden also, would pray the rosary constantly. And me and my sisters, we'd see a line from outside my house all the way to her room. And it was the souls asking for prayers. I didn't even know what it was. Nakapila asking for prayers.
Wow.
So sometimes even if I don't really, because sometimes you just forget, especially when the world's busy, you forget that there are things like this that happen. But when I do remember, I try to pray just because they might need it.
Right.
Because every now and then they'll let it, they'll be like, hi, I need help. So they do that. That's what they used to do when I used to dream about them. They'd wake me up through my dreams.
Be like, hey, I just need a little something. Could you just,
So it was my dad who said na parang, tell them na lang na I'll deal with you when I'm awake because this is not helping. This makes me not want to do it more because it really freaks me out.
I'm not at my optimum level right now.
Because I'm like, oh yeah, my Lola. So that Lola who was bayoneted. There's so many side stories. I'm so sorry, Antoinette.
It's fine.
So there are my Lola was bayoneted in LaSalle nga. So she was brought to Saints Co, which is how my stories my ghost stories connect from Saints Ko, my dancing stories connect to Meralco and CCP. So the LaSalle massacre naman, there was, because Saints Ko was so close to LaSalle, all the ghost stories from LaSalle would also hit us. There was one story about this girl that was praying in the chapel in the LaSalle church, and there was a priest or a brother in a brown robe, and he crawled towards her asking for water and help. And this girl crawled from the altar all the way to her, and she was just frozen in fear. And then parang nung natauna siya, she ran out. And she made a kwento. Syempre, it reached Saints Ko. So I come home with a new ghost story, and I'm like really excited. I go, oh my gosh, you know what? Grabe. There's this new story going on. I'm so excited, right? So I tell my Lola, and my Lola goes, oh, did he have glasses? Was he bleeding from, oh, that must be brother. He was bayoneted in the head. And I forgot to mention that the girl nga, because he came up so close to her, the description was he was bleeding profusely from the head, and parang matter was oozing out, and that he had glasses, and he was asking for water. He was asking for water. And my Lola goes, oh, yeah. And my Lola pa was the one who asked, did he have glasses? And I didn't give her that information. And she goes, yeah, that's brother. He was bayoneted in the head, and he died a few days later, and he went crazy. And he just kept yelling for water.
Oh, no.
Up until he passed.
That's so sad.
So I'm like, wow, my Lola knows a ghost. So that was cool for me.
I remember your story of your Lola was that she was actually with her family in there, right?
Yeah, their whole family. They were all massacred. It was the Coancos with Chicos, Carloses, and they were all family members. And they sought refuge in LaSalle. And they thought every now and then, because the Japanese soldiers come to do a head count. And that was not a head count. Apparently, the orders that day was kill everyone. So her 6-year-old brother was thrown into the air, bayoneted. He landed, I think, in the confessional booth. Her sister was shot. The other one was shot and then bayoneted. She survived, Lola Charing. And then both her mom was killed. Her dad was taken away. Like I said, a week prior to that happening, they never found his body. Last anyone saw of him though was he was hung by his thumbs because he was a judge. He was one of the I think he was a guerrilla. So he was one of the guerrillas who was helping the Philippines. Because my Lola remembers there was a time that they lived by the farm, and people would come down from the mountains though to meet with the dad. So I think they were guerrillas nga. So my great grandfather, the last I saw or heard of him though was he was hung by his thumbs in front of some hotel, and then he was beaten to death. They never found him again.
Gosh.
And then my Lola was bayoneted. My Lolo Ninong, he was 3 when that happened. One of the brothers who was bayoneted or shot took him, put him under a mattress, and then parang made higa the mattress slanted, angled on top of him, and then he died on top of the mattress. And he told lang my Lolo na, don't come out no matter what you do. Wait until the Americans get you. If you crawl out of here, if the Japanese see you, they will kill you. And he stayed there for 3 days. And then when he was found, they asked him if he was thirsty. And there was they were interviewed so many times for this. Like my Lola came out on Nat Geo and Nat Geo on Discovery Channel and the History Channel. So they were constantly interviewed about this. So that Lola of mine, they asked him like, were you not thirsty? Weren't you hungry? He goes, oh, there was water. And they asked him, water from where? And he points up, and it was the blood of the priest. And he was so thirsty that he was drinking that. And that's how he survived. Grabe, no?
Wow. And he thought it was water.
And he thought it was water, and he's so thirsty. That's yun nga, my Lola naman, my Lola woke up, because when she first woke up, she was still in LaSalle, and then she passed out again. When she woke up, everything was white and hazy, and she remembers one of the brothers saying prayers na for the dead, one of the ones who survived. And her first thought was, I don't think I'm in hell. It's not hot. This can't be heaven either. And she couldn't move though. And then she just passed out again. And apparently the reason why she couldn't move was because she was caked in blood, and it hardened up na, which is also what kept her alive. Because her blood coagulated right away.
Over her wounds and stuff.
Yes. And it was also partially because they didn't have enough, I think, water there. So they were all a little dehydrated then.
But like, siya ba yung like, Is it her story that her mom fell on top of her
Mm,
so that she
the
wouldn't be
priest.
seen? No, parang your lola, her mom fell on top of her when she was killed to like kind of shield her.
No, my lola came out because the Japanese called them out to form a line. And they really thought it was a head count lang. And then she was just bayoneted on the spot. She was bayoneted and then she was stepped on and bayoneted again. Parang double kill. And then she survived.
Sobrang swerte lang that she survived.
Sobrang swerte niya. Mr. Heart. But one went through. So she has a scar in front and at the back. And then another one in the front then. And then she was interviewed for... When she was young, she was 16. We have pictures of her because she was interviewed for war crimes. So they could put Yamashita on trial.
Wow.
So she was one of them.
That's crazy.
Which is why she was also interviewed by Nat Geo and Discovery and History. So
that's so crazy.
Yeah. And she knows a ghost.
she
personally knows him. Brother, he has a name. And she showed me because she has a book. And she goes, was it this guy? Was it brother? I'm like, Lola, I didn't see the ghost. I just heard of it. But he's the only one with round glasses. So I guess it's him.
Gosh.
So yeah.
So, like, I mean, because I went to LaSalle. So, I mean, we all had to go through that church at one point or another.
Yeah.
And I mean, the chapel was the chapel was always so serene, but you know, it was because like it was the site of something so terrible, and it's like the school doesn't try to hide it. There's like a memorial plaque and everything that this happened here for real. Never forget these like crimes. So you know, it's like when you're in there, you just always like you just feel like you have to be so respectful, not just because of it because it's a church, but something so like terrible happened in there.
Like there are stairs that lead up. That's where my Lola's sister passed away. The confessional booth there where it used to be, that's where her brother died because he was running and then they just threw him overhead, bayoneted him, threw him back. He landed at the confessional booth. And we know this because we have pictures. Because when the Americans arrived, they had to document everything. So they actually have pictures of the scenes. And then they turned it into a book and we have copies of that book and that's called These Hallowed Walls. So they also have pictures of my Lola. It's horrific. It's terrible.
Okay, but let's not end the show on that note. It's super heavy. I guess
my Lola knows a ghost. That's happy.
Your Lola knows a ghost. But do you have a particular like ghostly or otherworldly experience that you find kind of funny?
No. They're all creepy as heck.
Anything like amusing or like, you know, it's like, oh, that's amusing or chortle.
Oh, well, I think the funniest would be, oh my gosh, I freaked out. My dog just stretched and her foot grazed my foot. Oh, creepy. Okay, good to know it's alive and it's, you know, it's a real thing. Okay, so I think the funniest would be, because my sister, so there are three of us. It's me, Kara, and Nina. Nina's thing is always open, constantly. So we used to sleep in one room to save on aircon. Also because we were all scared. Dang. So it was me and Kara on the bed, Nina on the couch. And I woke up because, I wake up from my dreams. And in my dreams, there was a guy who was like, you know, looming over me, but looked like a real person. I wake up and I go, oh, that was a creepy dream. And then I see my dog looking up as well. And I go, no, it was not a dream. So I wake Kara up, like, Kara, I had a freaky dream. And then Kara wakes up and she's like freaking out as well because she feels it. So we're both like screaming in bed and we're like, Nina, wake up, call Papa. Well, turn on the lights. And the couch is right by the light switch. And she's like so cranky. And you go, Nina, wake up, get Papa, wake up. So she groggily gets up, turns on the light, goes down, calls Papa, super pissed off. And you go, why aren't you freaking out? And she goes, what's wrong with you? It's been there since 7 p.m.
What?
So yeah. Yep. So there.
Thank you so much for letting us know.
And Kara and I were like, why didn't you tell us? And we're still freaking out. She goes, I thought you knew. We didn't know. So there, that's usually what happens in this house. So it's Nina talaga. She's always like, is there something? Is there nothing? No, there's nothing. Okay, good.
Good.
Really just for confirmation.
She's not like scared of it at all anymore.
No, not at all. That's so normal. So yeah, I think that
alright,
is the funniest. But yeah, it's great.
Well,
it's good to know. It's good to know if there's something there or not.
I guess. So you can appropriately freak out or not.
Yes, exactly.
Manage your reaction.
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, so thanks so much for joining us tonight, Joni. Is there anything you want to share with the good people of the internet? What are you up to these days? I know you do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so we don't have any shows. I'm a ballet dancer. I do musical theater as well, but we don't have any shows. But I do teach dance. I teach ballet. So if you guys want dance lessons, no mumus involved, you can go, you can head over to Galao Po on Instagram or Elan Ballet and Pilates. I teach adult ballet for beginners as well. I also had a few advocacies. So I handle Feed the Kids PH, and my sister handles Project Pajak. Which, well, pretty much because of the pandemic now, we don't have great public transportation. So they give bikes to people who need it the most. And I make cold brew, joniboni.brews, to help fund
Which
Feed
is
the
awesome,
Kids.
by the way.
Yeah, thank you. So it helps fund Feed the Kids PH for the children in Tondo, and also to help my sister buy bikes for the people who need them. So there, if you guys want non-mumu stuff, please visit those pages.
I can confirm that her cold brew is mumu free.
Thank you.
It'll keep you awake. So, this has been Grimcast Manila with your host, Antoinette. You can find more episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and everywhere you get your podcasts. You could also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Grimcast Manila. Grimcast Manila is a podcast of creepy stories from around the metro and is produced, recorded, and distributed by Big Baby Studios. Find out more about our other shows on Big Baby at itsabigbaby.com or facebook.com/BigBabyStudios.